is 10 years later. Okay. 10 years later. I don't know why I wrote open mouth insert whatever foot. But this is my first apartment. I think in I was living in New Jersey at the time. This is my 41st birthday. A friend of mine took me to Chi-Chi's, and I was not ready for this, but I wore the Mexican hat as they sang, and I was kind of like I was in shock. More about the fact that I was 41 than the Chi-Chi hat, Mexican hat. And this is more recent, 2023. I took this with a current camera that I have, and it was black and white, kind of experimental. And this is what I look like now. So, some history about instant print photography. It started with Edwin Land, and many of you know this, and you probably remember hearing about, if not actually using or seeing, a Land camera, which was an instant print uh, camera. Um, Pretty amazing. I'm going to click on this link. You may not be able to see all of this, but what I've done is I've put some QR codes on the screen so that you can use your phone, your smartphone, or whatever. And if you hold it up with the camera on your smartphone, you'll see the link come up. And if you click on it, you can go to this website. This is a website from Harvard University where it talks about the history of Edwin Land, and it just goes on and on. There's a lot of history here. Um, he started out inventing polarized lenses, and now, and we're still using some of his technology today. Um, but it's kind of an interesting website. I thought it was very uh, robust. It didn't leave out anything, so I recommend it. It's Edwin Land, and I'll go back and show you how to get there if you would like to. Let's see. Oops. Now, I'm not able to get back that way. Maybe I'll try this. Is that getting me back? No. Now, it worked this morning, so I'm not sure. Maybe I have to quit this. I guess so. Back to meeting. And I want to go back to my presentation. Hmm. Yeah, Zoom is a little, I just want to get back to that keynote, and I'm not able to get back there right now. Anybody know how I do that? Back to meeting. I am in the meeting. Let's see. Maybe I need to share this screen again. Let's try that. You know what? I'm going to share my desktop instead. Let's try that. Okay, I think that's what I want to do. I didn't share the right thing with you. Okay, we're back. So if you scan this QR code here, and I'll show it again at the end if you decide you'd like to check out the Harvard site about Edwin Land. So my history, a little bit of my history with the Polaroid Land camera. I had a great Uncle John, and in 1963, he bought a land camera, and he would bring it to our home and take pictures of my brothers and I, and we were just totally amazed. I was totally amazed by it. And I think I found the camera that he used, and I'm going to go to this website here. Let's see this. Um, there we go. So this is a website about different models of Polaroid land cameras, and they're all listed here. But there's a picture of one here that was developed in 1963, and I'm sure that my great uncle purchased one of these. So he may have had the 100 series, Model 100. Um, he liked technology, and he bought into anything new that came along, but this was really different, and we were very excited about it. This is kind of a nice website because it shows all the different land cameras that were created and made by Polaroid. Hmm, interesting. And you can go back if you click here on this particular website, look at all the Polaroid land cameras that were created from the beginning to the end, and they go by year. So that's kind of an interesting site. And if you're interested in Polaroid, this would be a good site to check out. Okay, let's see if I can get back here, which I think I can now. So here's the QR code for that website. I'll show it again at the end. Included in my history in using and being fascinated with instant print cameras was my first instant print camera, which was the Swinger. Now, the Swinger was, I think it was made in 1965, and I got it for my 16th birthday in 1966. And I'm going to play a little clip from YouTube. And I don't know, maybe some of you remember this jingle, but I think it's pretty amazing, really.
The Swinger, the incredible new low-priced Polaroid land camera for black and white pictures in 10 seconds. The Swinger, the incredible new Polaroid land camera for 1995. It talks to you. Swing it up and take a look. Then turn the knob until it says yes, right in the viewfinder. Okay, you've got the right setting. 10 seconds later, you zip off a perfect black and white picture. The Swinger freezes action. It's always in focus. And it gives you beautiful close-ups. Incredible, especially at 1995.
The Swinger, Polaroid Swinger, the Swinger, Polaroid Swinger. Sing it up, it's legend. Take the shot, count it down, get it fed off. Hey, the Swinger, Polaroid Swinger, the Swinger, Polaroid Swinger.
Anybody remember that? Well, I don't know if you know this, but that jingle was written and performed by Barry Manilow, and Ali MacGraw was kind of the featured actor in that particular film, which I thought was kind of interesting. Now she did what? I think it was Love Story. Love Means Never Having to Say You're Sorry with was it Robert Redford? I don't remember. So here's the QR code to that particular Polaroid Swinger ad. You can probably find it pretty easily if you do a search for it. Here's some photographs taken with that Swinger. I took many, many. Now, back in 1966, my parents built a house. And my brothers and my father and I, we all worked together to help build this house. And I documented that entire process pretty much. So here are some photos of our home going up. This one was kind of funny because there was plastic on this dirt back here, and it looks like my brother is peeing. So we always laughed about this picture. There's Jimmy and Harry, the block layers. They were all friends of my dad's. There's Joe, and there I am helping to put some of the stone on the building. 1966. It was so much fun to look at these again. Now they're very small. Basically, they're 3 by 2.5, I think, in size, inches in size. This one is a really precious photograph from that year. This is the day we moved in, and my grandfather, who was born in Italy and immigrated in 1910, never spoke English, and actually never became a citizen. I think he was very unhappy here, but um, never went back to Italy. And this is moving day. I think he was very confused. You know, the house that he built when he came to America and lived in most of his life here um, was sold, and here he is in a new setting. So this is kind of a precious photograph for me. Our first Christmas in the new house. I see a lot of relatives that aren't with us any longer. And this is a blurry photograph, but I took that first Christmas morning in our new home, and you can see my brother back here with his new camera. He had to get a camera too after he saw mine. I don't think he had a Swinger though. I think it was some kind of an Instamatic camera. And my youngest brother, 16 years younger than me, on Christmas morning, my brother Rob. Uh, oh, the school play, 1968, the year I graduated from high school. I was in a school play. I was taking the photograph, so I'm not in the cast picture. But oh, and this is the prom for 1968. And this is my graduation party at the new house in 1968. So, and it's really kind of interesting because most of the people in this picture are not with us except for this young lady and this younger lady. Oh, and I think my cousin Nikki's still around. And that's my brother Dennis. Experimental photo. So that swinger really started things, and I always loved instant print photography. I had many different instant print cameras. I can't even tell you what they were. I don't remember, but I'll show you photographs that I took with them, but I don't even remember what they were when I bought them, but I've always had one since then. So, what kind of renewed my interest in instant print photography was back in 2019 at the um, Photographic Society where we were meeting at the Plastic Club. It was Christmas time, and I think Eileen, I think there was a bazaar, a Christmas bazaar where people would bring things to sell or trade. I can't remember exactly what, but I purchased one of these right down here, and this is called the Impossible I-1, and it was the first camera developed after Polaroid went under, after Polaroid closed. And there's a whole story about this Impossible company. And if you look over here to the right, this is a camera that I own now. I just purchased it not too long ago. It's the i2, and I think it came out in 2016. These are both Polaroid cameras, instant print cameras. Here's a QR code to let you go to the I1 history and information, and this QR code takes you to a review of the newer I2. Let's just look very quickly here at the Impossible I-1, and there was a review when it came out, October 31st, 2016, I believe that came out. Um, and you can read about it, and I actually have this camera, and I can show it to you. And I think there's even a picture or two that I've taken with it in the upcoming slides. Let's go back here. And this is the review of the newer I2 camera that is currently available. They don't make the I1 any longer. This one is called the Polaroid I2 because the company, the Impossible company, actually bought the rights to the name. But they didn't have the rights to the name when this first camera was created. It was called the Impossible I1. But there are many companies that make instant print cameras today, probably the ones you would think. Polaroid makes instant print cameras. I can show you a few of those. Fujifilm makes instant print cameras, which I like very much. Lomography makes instant print cameras. And of course, Kodak. There's a lot of history among all these different manufacturers. I'll just click quickly so you can see some of these Polaroid cameras. I mean, they keep coming out with new ones all the time, but they take a Polaroid film called I-type film, and it comes in color and black and white. And you can get it at Target. You can buy it at a photo store. You can get it at Walmart, I believe. Let me go back here and let's check we'll look at Fujifilm, Fuji cameras. These are instant print cameras also. I have this one, the Mini Evo. I like it very much. And oh, I also have the Square. And I'll talk about these different formats a little bit later, but you can get them with film in different formats, in different sizes. Now, the Lomography, I don't know if you're familiar with Lomography. They make inexpensive cameras, film cameras, but they also make instant print cameras. And I have this one. It's called the Lomo Instant Wide Glass. This is one of the few instant print cameras that you can buy today that actually has glass in the lenses rather than plastic. And it's a pretty cool camera. It's called wide because and I'll show you the format. It shoots it uses wide film. And the wide film is like 4.5 by 3.25 inches in its dimensions. But they have a lot of instant print cameras. So if you're interested in something a little different, and they build cameras beautifully, Lomography might be someplace you'd like to look. Um, and of course, Kodak makes instant print cameras. And here are some of those. You may have even heard of these or seen them before. They make a square format and they have a mini size. They have retros, and these are all instant print. So you take the picture, click it, and the film comes out, spits out, and develops before your eyes. Um, these are some of the formats that you can buy cameras, and they all kind of take either Polaroid film or Fujifilm. Even if they're made by, like the Lomography camera, the wide glass uses this Fujifilm wide film. And this is film. It is not a print. It's not a printed item. It's film in the camera that develops in the pack. So there's a square, which is a regular size that you can get today. And the square is about 3.5 by 4.5, or maybe it's about by 4.25. It's not exactly square, but it's fairly square. This small square, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, comes from an Instax, which is a Fujifilm printer. There are printers that use film, and I'll show you a couple of those. And this is a mini size print that comes out, not a print, but a piece of a film that comes out. It's 2 inches by 3.5 inches. So there's a wide format, this mini, a small square, and then the regular size, which is most often you'll see in the cameras, this square size, larger square size. So what are some practical use scenarios for, these cameras? For me, schools comes to mind first because I use an instant print camera in my teaching a lot. Almost every school that I went to had instant print cameras. I think it was a thing back in I taught in the 70s, 80s, 90s, into the 2000s. I retired in 2007, but we had instant print cameras and they were great. Here's some photos that I took of a project in 1972. And so what I did is with my students, we together large cement pallets, and they were pallet covers made of plastic. We used a large vacuum and we reversed. So rather than sucking, we had it blowing air into this large, I don't know what you call it, form. I don't call it a geodesic dome because it's really not, but that was the idea. And it had a vertical slit that you could squeeze into. And when it would close, it would keep the air inside so it wouldn't deflate. If the slit were horizontal, the whole thing would not inflate. This is inside. Some of my students, 1972. I don't, how old would they be now? Here's my students, and there's me with hair and a mustache again. And so schools are a great place to have instant print cameras or to use them. Travel's a great thing. No, these are from 1979, but I visited a friend of mine, and I hope your travels are more exciting than mine. I visited a friend of mine up in Syracuse, New York back then, and I was there for a few days, and while we were there, now this is April, on April 10th, we got 8 inches of snow, and I was like flabbergasted because I had never in my life seen that much snow in April.
Yeah,
But I guess
sorry.
that could happen. It could happen today, right? You can use Instaprint photographs in an experimental way. And this is my first experiment with an Instaprint camera. This is the Infant of Prague, and I put flowers around it and I set it up with a towel behind it. Of course, that Swinger camera in 1966 was in black and white only, and that's my foray into experimental photography. Here's another one where I put it on the timer in black and white, and this is more recent. I think this is within the last few years. Took this photo. This is a multiple exposure photo, two exposures um, in black and white. And here's another multiple exposure. I actually just took this today with my i2 camera, and this is a double exposure in color. The i2 camera, the Polaroid i2 camera, um, can take up to four multiple exposures, a quad, I guess, exposures. These cameras are great to use in documentation. I guess this would document how skinny I was in 1978. I was shocked to see that because I didn't remember being that thin. You wouldn't know it today. Uh, this is more recent, documenting the snow that we had, I guess, last month. This is the Impossible i1 camera that I have. And this is a recent acquisition. I went to the Philadelphia typewriter store down on Passyunk Avenue and bought this beautiful portable typewriter by Remington, and it was made in 1926, and it works beautifully, perfectly restored. Notice there's black around the edge of this photo. Some of the film comes in colors or black or white, so you can get them with different borders. And this was the documentation of my attendance at the 1982 NJEA convention in Atlantic City, New Jersey. We had to document that we were there in order to, I think we got paid for the day, because a lot of people will go down, hate to say it, a lot of teachers would go down to the Atlantic City and they would go gambling rather than the convention. But they had a booth where they'd take your photo using a Polaroid or an Instaprint camera. And so I still have it. And I was there. And this is documentation of how I use the spent film packs. I use them to display, and I'll show you this later, series of photos that I might take so I can put the entire series inside the old film pack and then leave one in the front to be displayed. And this actually can stand up by itself on a shelf or something. It's just I do that. I haven't read that anywhere that anyone else does that, but I thought that was kind of a fun thing to do. And you can use Instaprint photos. I actually use them in crafts. I make cards for people, so you can put them in a card, and people love that. And here's one of my niece in a card that I gave her. And so those are just some ideas about how Instaprint photos can be used today. I mean, they can be used any way you want, but um, those are kind of ways that I use them. So there are film printers that you can buy in addition to the cameras. And I have two film printers here, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But this one on the right is actually a camera that's a printer. And I'll tell you about this one. I have this one too. It's called the Fujifilm Instax Mini EVO camera. And but let me tell you about this first one here. This one prints with Bluetooth from an app on your phone, and it prints stickers. It's a Polaroid camera, and you can peel the back off and stick them on anything. So that's kind of a fun thing to do. This one in the middle is made by Fujifilm, and this printer prints the small square format photographs. And it too uses an app, and it also allows you to print photos that you took with an instant print camera that have been scanned or digitized, or it allows you to print photos that you take with your smartphone. So you don't even need a camera to take photos. And but it's a film printer because you put the actual film, instant print film, in the printer, and then it will print photos from different sources. And this one on the right is a camera that you can take instant print photos with. You can take your photo and you can have it print before your very eyes, or you can save the photo on the memory inside, and you could transfer the photos to your smartphone, which you can then print, or you can transfer photos from your smartphone back using Bluetooth to this camera, and then you can print them on film, on instant print film here. So it's kind of a hybrid camera, I guess. It's a printer and a camera. I guess they're all kind of printers in a way, but this has a lot of possibilities. It's kind of a cool thing. This is the QR code for this website, which I was looking at what are the best instant print photo printers around today, and there are actually uh, quite a few of them that are really, really nice. I have three of the ones that are in this particular list. So if you're interested in finding out a little more about them, you can take a look at this particular website. And the QR code is here, as I said, and I'll show it to you again at the end. So let's take a look at some of these instant print photos that I've taken over the years. I'll have the year down here. Some of them I had to guess at the year, but that one I know was taken in 2025 of my weather station on the roof of our house. This is a view from our deck. These are the Society Hill Towers. We live nearby. And we can only see two, though, because one is hidden behind the other. This is from 1967. I don't know where I got that coat. I have to tell you, I don't even remember buying such a thing, but I don't think it's very, well, I don't like it. I'll just tell you that, but I don't even remember it. This is more recent. I look like the mad scientist somehow in my laboratory. Actually, this is my studio. This is from 1966, that Swinger camera. Here I am here on the left. This is my dad in the middle. And my brothers and I were working, building our house back then that we moved into in 1967. I, I found this, I couldn't believe it. This is from that Swinger camera also from 1966. This was a photograph of a painting that I did when I was in high school, and it's called, I remember, called The Immigrants. And it's fairly large. I think it might have been about 2 feet by 2 feet or 2.5 feet by 2 feet. My first oil painting. Now, remember I said schools are a great place for cameras, instant print cameras. I worked with young children with special needs, and we had a lot of language activities that we used with them. And so we would take pictures of objects, and then we would label them. And that's one thing about these instant print uh, photos is that there's room at the bottom to write a date or just a caption, which I think is really kind of cool and makes them very useful. But we used a lot of these. I won't show you more of them, but maybe there is another one coming up somewhere. But we use these to help young children with disabilities to make the connection between the word and the object. This is backstage at that my high school play, Blythe Spirit was the play, and this is the spirit. And this is moving day in 1967. We moved in a pickup truck from one house to the other. This is our deck with snow on it in 2026. This is another one of those photos from a school setting, um, probably to show this climber. We called it a climber, and the kids could identify with it. We might ask them, maybe it wasn't labeled here, but we might ask them, tell me about this, and have them use some language to talk about it. This is my first apartment in the city of Philadelphia. And this had to be, I don't remember exactly, but probably 1985 or 1986, somewhere around there. I still like plaid shirts. This is one of those mini um, format instant print photos. And this is more recent. I took this last month, but just to show you how small it is. This was taken with that Mini Evo camera that I was telling you about. That's a hybrid camera that lets you print photos from your smartphone. This is a mistake. It's a mistake that I made in using an instant print camera that I bought, the i2, for the first time. I realized after taking a few photos that weren't turning out very well that you have to have the flash on all the time when you're indoors. It needs so much light that without the flash, this is what you get. It doesn't work very well. So I did the same thing here. I think this is another photo I took with it. As you can see, the black film border in the same film pack, and I'm thinking, what's going on with these? They're not turning out very good, and I needed to have the flash on all the time, and that solved the thing. This was kind of an experimental photo. I was using reflected light in a dark room, and it actually worked. So I was surprised about that. Another small format Mini Evo uh, film photo. I take a lot of pictures of my shoes because I always look at the floor, and I take pictures like that all the time with any camera, places that I go. Now, one thing I have to say, I think that the Fujifilm film, which is different from the Polaroid film, they're different chemistries. I think that the Fujifilm is the colors are brighter and more interesting. The Polaroid film is the colors are less vibrant and that I can see. And also there's a difference in how they develop. The Polaroid images have to be kept in the dark or turned over. I put them in a black bag, and it takes about 15 minutes for them to develop. Where the Fujifilm chemistry, these films develop very quickly, right? You just hold them out, light doesn't bother them, and the colors come up almost within a minute or so. Um, so there's differences in the formulations for how these films work. Now, this is a photograph that I took with my smartphone and then printed on that Fujifilm film printer, if you can follow that. So this was not taken with an instant print camera, but printed on film from the Fujifilm printer. And I'll show it to you later. I actually have it here. This also was a photograph I took at MoMA up in New York at the Ruth Asawa show with some of her sculpture. I took it with my smartphone and then printed it on the Fujifilm printer, as is this one. And this is the one that was taken with that Impossible i1 camera. And this is how it turned out. So you see that, Eileen? It works. We weren't sure whether this i1 camera would still work. There's a problem with, they don't produce it any longer, but there's a problem with the battery is soldered into the mechanism and you can't replace it easily. It can be replaced, but I don't know if you can replace it yourself. So I was worried the battery wasn't going to work, and I charged the camera, and it actually worked. I took this one today with my i2 camera, my Polaroid i2. I took this one today. This is a ballpark near my home, and this is at Third and Walnut. And this bell was given to Philadelphia by Queen Elizabeth in 1976. So I have these um, QR codes that you can scan with your smartphone if you'd like to go to Edwin Land's history, very complete at Harvard University. If you want to take a look at the land camera models that were produced, if you'd like to look at the Polaroid Swinger, uh, it's very nostalgic for me to look at the Swinger and listen to the jingles and stuff because I do remember them. Um, this QR code takes you to the Impossible i1 camera, that first Polaroid camera after Polaroid became uh, when it went into bankruptcy and closed. This is the Polaroid i2 camera made by the Impossible company that you can purchase now. That's a review of that. And this is these are those this is a QR code to those instant photo printers. And there are a few of them that you could look at. I thought we'd have a Q&A. Does anyone have any questions about anything that you'd like to ask? Any comments?
I just want to say I really enjoyed seeing the family photos.
I know, and that's all I have.
I could look at that kind of stuff all day long.
I
And
know, I know.
and there's some of those, some like especially there was one of I think it was your grandfather sitting in a chair in the new house.
Oh, I know, really, yeah.
I thought that was wonderful.
It's one of my prized photos
Yeah.
because I'm really uh I remember when I took that thinking Grandpa is not he's not well. He's not happy. That was my impression. And so it's kind of a sad photo, but it's interesting to see again after all these years.
Well, thanks for showing this. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, Penny. You're welcome. I don't know what everybody can see. Should I stop sharing right here? I guess it says stop sharing. I'll still be able to see you, right? Yeah.
I remember one person whose husband was a design professor. She got a Polaroid so before the days of digital because she could see the work as she took it and could improve.
Well, I think people can use them that way. When you see the actual physical photo in front of you, you see it differently than if it were on the computer screen. I mean, there's no doubt about that, and everybody knows that. I mean, the other thing that I think is important here with these instant print photos, but with other photos that are printed photos are more accessible, but they last a long time. I mean, that little Polaroid camera from 1966, those photos are still viable. I have the box. In fact, I have the box that they came in. I should show you that. This is the box that hold all my instant print photos from my Polaroid Swinger. Let me show you a couple of other things. Can everybody see me? I think. Okay. This is the newest camera that I've purchased, and this is the i2, the Polaroid i2. I think they call it an artist's camera, and because you can put it in manual mode, which is kind of cool. It has a flash built in. It has the batteries built in. You charge it with USB-C. Um, it's light. You can travel with it, and it's pretty. I like it, but it's very finicky. You have to fuss with it. I mean, you have to fuss with the settings and all of that. But I guess if you're a photographer, you don't mind doing that. That's part of your job, right? Part of what you do. This is the I-1, the impossible I-1 that didn't have the name uh, Polaroid because the Impossible Company hadn't purchased the rights to the name yet. So this one, I-2, is called the Polaroid I-2. This is the Impossible I-1. This is the one that I didn't think was going to work until I plugged it in and the battery did work. But what I had read that these things really were finicky and that battery goes bad over time. So this would have been made in 20, well, let's see, 2008 is when Polaroid stopped producing cameras and film, and the Impossible Company bought the rights to their film, and then they produced the camera in I think it's 2015. So this is about 2015. There's a whole history about this that you could read about that's really interesting. I mean, it was made by what they call young engineers. Do you know anything about that? The group of engineers that may have put this together. But it's a beautiful object, even if it doesn't take pictures, but it does take pictures. Let's see, this, I have to push that. This comes up, and this is the viewfinder. It's not a great viewfinder. It does have Bluetooth. So it was supposed to talk to your smartphone and an app. The app isn't produced anymore, so I could not get it to work with my phone. And so that's the I-1. And then I wanted to show you um, another one of my favorite cameras. This is a lomography camera called, remember I talked about the wide glass because it actually has um, glass lenses as opposed to plastic. So this shoots the wide format photo. And it uses, even though it's made by lomography, it uses the Fujifilm wide film, Instax wide film. And let's see, let me show you these photo printers. This is a Bluetooth printer made by Polaroid, and it prints those little 3 by 2 mini photos from your smartphone. And you can also get the film that has stickers on it's sticky on the back. You peel it off and you can stick those photos on things. And then this is the Fujifilm printer. It looks like a little sarcophagus or something to me. The Fujifilm printer, and this prints the mini. I'll just show you one of them. The mini format
Wow.
square images. Now, this is the size that's most often used. It's kind of a standard square. They call this square. So you can see this is a little smaller. Cameras do not print these smaller square formats. And then I'll show you here's the wide, so you can see the difference between that and the standard, how it looks. This is the wide from that lomography camera. And then here's the mini. I'll show you next to the standard. And the mini's small. But you know what? Even though it's small, it works pretty well. It still works. And I want to show you, one more camera here before we finish up. This is that hybrid camera. It's called the Instax Mini Evo. So it shoots little mini film, and it has memory, and it has Bluetooth. So it talks to your phone through an app, and it can print. If you send photos from your smartphone to this camera, it can print them on the mini film. And it also lets you take photos and print them on the mini film, like instantly. So this is kind of a cool camera to have because it does a little bit of everything, you know. The film can be bought, like I said, you can get, I buy some of my film at Unique Photo, which is up on 3rd Street. It's a shop there. They always have this film there. This is the I-type film that goes in the Polaroids. These are some of the Fuji films. This is the wide, and then this is the square that goes in that printer. It sounds confusing, doesn't it? Because there's so much going on, but I think that people love these cameras because they're versatile, they're fun. I think that's the bottom line is that they're a lot of fun. This is the film pack that has been used. So once you shoot your film, you open the camera and take this out. Most people would throw this away. But if you do a series of photos, what I like to do is store them in here. And you can pull the little thing off on the bottom and slide these in. So you have your series of photos and you can put one on top. And then this stands up on your shelf so people can
It's
see.
a frame.
So it's just something to think about. You could put them in a frame also, or stick them up on a bulletin board.
Anthony,
Yes,
Walter here. As far as the land cameras, are they collectibles nowadays?
I do think they are. You can if you go to eBay or just search on the internet, you can still get these land cameras. I don't know about the really first ones from the 60s. I'm sure you can. But and I don't know if they're in working order or not. But I do know that there are people around the world who are engineers who restore these old cameras. There's a guy in Australia. I forget his name, but if you look it up, he's big. People send their cameras to Australia to have him refurbish them. He puts a new battery pack on them and he'll do different things to them and then mail them back to you for a price. And you can have these vintage cameras working again. The SX70 was a Polaroid camera that people loved. Of course, it's not made anymore, but you can buy them on eBay and so forth. And a lot of times they're not working, but if you send it to one of these camera engineers, they will get it back to working for you if you really want it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I was asking because I have a whole kit of a land camera
Ah, you
with
do?
with the case. It was one again. My father had purchased it, and I
Wow.
used it to take pictures with it. And then when my mother passed, I was cleaning out the house. I found the kit, everything, including the flash for the camera itself. So, but where can you buy film for it nowadays? If
Well,
that's a possibility.
I don't think you can for the
Okay.
land cameras, but maybe you can. I mean, it's
Anything's
amazing.
possible.
Yeah, it's always not impossible. I guess the Impossible project was showed us that you can do anything that you put your mind to. But just check out there and do some research. There's a lot of information about all of this out
Okay.
on the web. Some of those links that I put in the presentation, I really tried not to go to Wikipedia. I wanted to try finding the best of these sites that you could check out. And I thought that the one from Harvard was really the most the best of the history of Polaroid. Now, of course, Edwin Land started all this over 100 years ago, and we're still using his technology. That's pretty cool.
That is true. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tony,
Yes,
there's
yes.
a question here from Akin Odom
Oh, Akin,
uh,
yeah.
that part of it you touched on. He says, "Thank you, Tony. It was a very interesting talk that reviewed many memories for me." I guess it means revised. But the questions he had, I think you spoke to about the prints. His two questions are, how long do they last? And then do they fade away over time?
They don't seem to.
They don't seem to fade away over time based on my experience. I haven't read a lot about whether they fade away. I mean, I would think it's like anything else. Like if you have a watercolor painting that you want to preserve, you wouldn't put it out in bright light in the sunlight. You wouldn't expose it to a lot of moisture. I think it's the same thing with these prints, that you have to care for them somehow. And so here's this my little brother Rob, who's bigger than I am now, from 1967. You know, it's still viable. Now, it's a weird little print. It's not very big, but it doesn't matter to me right now.
Sure. Thank you.
Was there anything else that Akin wanted to know?
That's his only question.
Anthony, did you ever shoot with the SX70?
No, and the more I read about it, it's like, oh, I really would like to have one of those, but you have to invest money in it. I mean, I don't, if you have to have it repaired, it isn't inexpensive. It would be a couple $1,000s probably, and sending it wherever you have to send it to, and trusting that it would be repaired. What the basic problem with them is the battery. The batteries were soldered into these, and some of them leaked, and so they caused a lot of damage in the internal parts of the camera. But what they seem to do when they restore them is that they remove that old battery and they actually put a new lithium ion battery in. And what I've seen is that sometimes it's on the outside of the camera, so they mount it outside the camera. All different things, But no, I never used an SX70, and you watch, if you look at on YouTube, all you have to do is look at SX70 on YouTube, and people will show you how it works. And it was a very slick camera. I mean, it had glass lenses. That was one thing about it. And then the other thing about it is that it folded up, if you remember. I don't have a picture of one for you now, but it folded in a really interesting way. And then you opened it up and it let you take a picture. And the other thing about it, it was a single lens reflex camera. It was an SLR. And none of these are SLRs. I mean, this one, remember, you're looking through the top here. This one, the viewfinder's on the side, and it's really tricky because you don't exactly know what you're getting a picture of. But
Andy Warhol used a Polaroid, the long one, for his pictures of Deborah Harry back in the 80s.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Well,
I have one. Forget the model number. It's like a Polaroid portrait camera. That's what he used for Deborah Harry.
Wow.
The picture on the
You
rock.
have one?
Yeah, I have one of those. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and
yeah, so it was an SLR, right? And so
it's a whole genre in itself. The rocker photography, I find.
Oh, I have a picture on my phone of an SX70. Oh, can you see it? A lot of reflections. Sorry. Let me see. Tip it up. Yeah.
We sort of saw it.
You sort of saw it, right? Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Technology. Any other questions or comments? Well, thank you very much. I think it's almost 8 o'clock. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed seeing you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a
Thank
great,
you, Eileen.
really
you.
great presentation.